Hey, I'm Mark Pridmore and I run Frisson Records. Well, I'm on the Sunshine Coast and it doesn't really have a scene. I still like a bit of house, but just a little boring and lacks a bit of power for me these days. I had to learn everything because I didn't know how anything worked. I didn't know how labels released music, how you promoted music, how you promoted or marketed artists. Hey, as you dive deeper into the scene, you find what you like and you can go as deep. It's a rabbit hole, as you know. So my label, I kind of pride myself on helping those guys that don't have those names and don't have the opportunity, but it's a community, it's not a competition, so we all kind of help each other in some ways. So I kind of like to have a plan and have a vision and try to make something special. He's also made a tune with Tom Chiller before Tom passed, and we've had some pretty cool remixes done, and that's coming out on Ash Roy's label pretty soon. It's pretty cool to keep Tom's music alive. That'll be a pretty sick little EP, that one. Yeah, just release quality music and maybe have a couple of sick parties. Might even do something with you, mate. Yeah, I feel like I'm more useful to the scene and the community by running the label and running the party, giving DJs opportunities, connecting the dots behind the scene, finding undiscovered artists, giving them a platform to play. And
hello everybody from Sunshine Coast, traveling up the coast, meeting artists and other people from the music community. Brother, please introduce yourself.
Hey, I'm Mark Pridmore and I run Frisson Records.
Frisson Records, what does the name mean and when did it start, the label?
The name is, it's a French word and it basically means the reaction you get when you hear a beautiful piece of music, or sometimes people get it like just reliving an experience or seeing something beautiful. They'll get those goosebumps, those chills. The term frisson is a French word that, that's what it basically means.
And how long did it take you to come up with this name, and how did you come up with it? Was it something difficult? You were thinking for a while what it could be, or something that came naturally and quickly?
Good question. There was always this saying back in the day when I was listening to house music and progressive house and stuff, and people would say that goosebumps never lie. If it's a special track and something's really cool and you get those goosebumps on your neck or whatever, I did a little bit of research on that kind of scientific kind of experience, and that's how I discovered it, and immediately I felt like that would be a cool word for a label. So yeah, and that was probably maybe 7 years ago. The label's been running for 6 years now, so there's a bit of work before the label's officially released, so yeah, it's been going for 6 years now.
What kind of work was there before the label was launched officially?
Quite a bit, because I knew fuck all. I was a dad of a young aspiring DJ, producer. He wasn't getting any traction. Demos weren't getting heard. I couldn't connect to other labels. It was kind of, doors weren't opening basically. So I did some research and jumped into trying to find out how to make those doors open. And basically I come up with the idea of starting my own label. If no one else would give him and other guys a chance, I thought, fuck it, I'll do it myself. So here we are, 7 years later, and it's going okay. Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. You must be the best dad in the world that have gone and started a totally new thing to help a son.
I try to be a good dad, but I'm a bit obsessive and I'm also pretty determined too. So I guess those combinations, made it happen. Yeah.
So, was it when your sort of involvement in the music scene has began, or did you have interest and involvement in it earlier?
No, I've had lots of interest in music all my life, just as a listener and going to festivals and concerts and whatnot. But the electronic stuff, I kind of got into electronic house music probably 15 years ago. Loved it, jumped in, was going out all the time, the whole scene, the whole community, everything was pretty sick. Then I had kids and my son showed some genuine interest and genuine talent. So kind of just evolved. I was trying to help him a lot, like just trying to see if he could turn this into a career because he had some ability. So just dived in. I don't know if he really wanted me to or not, but I was one of those dads that just jumped in and helped as much as I could.
Yeah. So how was it in the beginning? Like, I think you didn't answer that question. What kind of work did go into it before? You did some research, but what actually did you do, or what did you learn doing that research before you launched?
We did Amsterdam dance event 3 years in a row. So that was a big learning curve. And that's kind of where the ideas, kind of started to possibly be in the scene more. But yeah, I had to learn everything because I didn't know how anything worked. I didn't know how labels released music, how you promoted music, how you promoted or marketed artists, what branding was all about, what it worked, how it worked. So I had no idea pretty much. I come in pretty cold. Some of it's common sense, but it's a clicky scene and there's a lot of shit to learn. So I just had to learn everything basically. I wasn't even a whiz on a computer, so I had to kind of do all that. Social media, come in pretty cold. So it was a big learning curve, but one I really enjoyed.
So when you launched, did you already have releases lined up, or already had sort of almost about to release something?
We had some. My son had some friends and some connections, some locally and some from around the world. That we were just looking for opportunities like those guys were, and I would talk to them online or meet with them or whatever at events, and I guess they needed opportunities. They needed a platform to be able to showcase their ability because a lot of labels wouldn't even listen. So I just figured we'll start our own and have a red hot go at it, and it got a good response, and it just kicked off, and got good support. Before you knew it, we had big name DJs sometimes playing the tracks in festivals, and that was huge. It was a big buzz for me and these young guys. So it's cool, really cool.
What was the first release? Do you remember?
As a Mexican young guy, I'm still friends with this guy actually. His name's Daniel Etienne. We met him in Amsterdam, and he makes really good music, and he's released on some big labels now, and a track recently got played by Martin Garrix of his, and he's kind of connected with some of the guys on the Swedish House Mafia. It's not our sound anymore, but he's done really well, and anyway, he was the guy that made the track for the first release.
So you said it's not your sound anymore. So has the label sound changed, evolved, or what has, and how is it different from when you started?
It changes all the time. It evolves, and I guess it evolves due to my taste mostly. I think it's got to evolve. I feel like it's a bit boring to just play the same all the time. We started off with more of I guess it was like a house music, kind of progressive, but there was still that EDM type vibe. That was, it was a little bit more how do you say it, like a little bit more basic kind of music, and it was a bit more EDM based. But as you dive deeper into the scene, you find what you like, and you can go as deep. It's a rabbit hole, as you know. So as I like different sounds and stuff and have different experiences, the label kind of goes different ways. Yeah.
And now, how would you describe the label's sound? Yeah, what if you can describe it though?
Look, it's in the realm of progressive psychedelic techno and minimal techno, progressive house, all those, and bush techno. I don't think there's one sound or one name to fit it. There's probably 5 or 6, but if I had to give it one, I guess it's progressive psychedelic techno / minimal techno.
Yeah. Do you think it's like, yeah, we have like these, you mentioned all of them, the 5 or like 4 kind of descriptions for this body of music, but it's kind of it has different styles in it, but it's all one.
Definitely, and I love that, because I actually don't love how you've got to put a label on it all the time, a special name, but like within those 5, there's fusions and they cross over, and all those fusions can create something pretty special. Whether it's minimal working with something progressive and psychedelic, or bush techno working with something like harder techno, or whatever the combination can be. Even with collaborations too, I feel like if you get an artist that focuses on that sound and that sound, you can bring them together and create something more fresh. That's the beauty of like creating stuff. It's you're always trying to find something a bit new and a bit fresh and a bit wow, so the dance floors love it and gets people fucking excited.
Yeah, awesome. And so you along the way you have released music for some of the artists that were basically the very beginnings of their career, and like how did I guess it's starting with your son first here. So how did it sort of become more common for you that you've helped a lot of younger artists, and how then did you bring in a bigger artists on the label?
Yeah, I really enjoy working with the lesser known guys, because they appreciate an opportunity, and if they're talented, they deserve an opportunity. Whereas the bigger guys, they can probably send their music to 15 labels and be heard like that, and release their music real easily. My label, I kind of pride myself on helping those guys that don't have those names and don't have the opportunity. But look, I've got some bigger names on labels and on the label, and sometimes the guys that first released had no profile, but now they have a profile, and I might have played a small part in that, and that feels good to me. So and those small guys now can work with some bigger guys, or remix a bigger guy's track, even vice versa. Lifts their profile, and before you know it, they're rubbing shoulders with these other guys, getting bookings, and maybe making a career out of it. So yeah, it's kind of cool to play that little role in there, connect the dots, and give those guys a step up.
And in terms of the artists on the label, do you have a favorite artist, or maybe like a favorite? Favorite. I was gonna ask favorite release as well, but like, do you have a favorite artist?
I don't know if I have a favorite artist or a favorite release. Put me on the spot there. Look, I don't sign anything I don't like, basically. So I like it enough to believe it's good and put it out there. Look, I mentioned a couple of names. Tom Chiller, who's not here anymore. He's awesome. He was a really good artist. A guy called Common Ground, very underrated. They come to mind. My son Kane. There's a couple new guys. A guy called Jack Smart, I think, can do whatever he wants. Ruben Stroud, another red hot guy, up and coming, and if they focus and pull their finger out and keep making cool shit, they can do whatever they want. I'm sure there's other guys. I have to mention my label partner, Dark Mode, Nathan. He's a top fella and been helping me for years. His sounds a bit more hard techno most of the time. Doesn't always fit on the label, but he's a producer that can do anything he wants to. But look, anyone on the label, I feel like is talented enough to go well.
That's that's good to be able to say that. About Dark Mode, does he run another label, Extinct or something?
Yeah, he works with a couple of other guys, Brisbane guys as well. I assume they had a conversation and needed another platform for harder techno. I know all the guys. We don't compete or anything like that. But yeah, Nathan helps them and he helps me. But he was helping me first, so that's where he learnt all his skills and bits of the trade. But it's a community, you know, it's not a competition. So we all kind of help each other in some ways. So, but in saying that, Nathan can play, he's playing tomorrow for me in a label showcase at Initiation. And he'll play a chunky, kind of higher BPM bush techno set. And he'll play last because he's got that harder techno edge. You know, he can play whatever sound he wants really, but his heart lies with the harder techno.
So when you say higher BPM techno, what sort of BPM would you expect he would be playing there?
On a Frisson showcase, he probably shouldn't go higher than about 130 BPM, Nathan.
Nathan, well, we'll see. He won't see it until later, but 130 BPM. In terms of collaborations with other labels, has this been also part of sort of your experience consistently?
Not really so much with other labels. You know, I catch up with guys at Doofs and that, and we talk about stuff like that, but I wouldn't say we've done like proper collabs. Ben Rama from Technosis and I have chatted about it. I know about 4 or 5 other label owners that do similar sound, yourself as well too. So look, I'm open to it, but I've got to believe that the end result's going to be, you know, quality. It's not just for the sake of it. I'm big on like concepts and like having a feeling and a thought and an idea, not just you make music, I make music, let's just see what happens. I kind of like to have a plan and have a vision and try to make something special. But yeah, I'm definitely I'm a huge fan of collaborations.
Awesome. I'm actually I'm also usually like a kind of an idea and a vision kind of person for a project in particular. So yeah, let's talk later about that and see where it can take us. But for the lab Frisson Records for the future, in the near future, what are the plans? Let's say what's coming in next year, and maybe what if you have a 5-year vision, or at this point you could comment something about that.
Look, I don't have a 5-year vision. Things change pretty often with me. I got a plan for the first 6 months of 24. I've got some artists I really want to showcase. Jack Smart's one of them. He might wear a mankini at a doof, but he can make sick tunes. Another guy I work with, not necessarily a psychedelic techno type artist, but a guy from Newcastle called Haptic. He's got a profile in Europe as a vocalist, but I've been working pretty closely with him, and we're gonna, you know, release some music on the label that's going to cross over a little bit, but we're going to showcase his skills. He's also made a tune with Tom Chiller before Tom passed, and we've had some pretty cool remixes done, and that's coming out on Ash Roy's label pretty soon. No one else knows about that. It's the first time I've mentioned it, to be honest. So it's sick. Like there's Automata does a remix, Common Ground does a remix, and a guy called Toffee does a remix. all sick tracks, and it's pretty cool to keep Tom's music alive. That'll be a pretty sick little EP, that one. But yeah, as far as the other stuff happening in 24, do some label showcases at some different festivals. Yeah, just release quality music, and maybe have a couple of sick parties. Might even do something with you, mate. Yeah, I don't know. I can't plan too far ahead. I just see what inspires me.
Yeah, well, that's good to hear. It seems like active plan, active look into the future. So that's good to hear. In terms of the parties you mentioned, so do you remember like the most epic party that you had, or can you remember which one was your favorite, I guess?
Okay, my favourite producer of all time is a guy called Amos.
No, not the producer, party, label party.
Yeah, so because he's my favourite and he hadn't had a headline interstate show, I was the first guy to bring him up and play, get him at Brisbane. So that was my favourite one. That's probably my first proper crack at a party. I'd had like maybe 8 or so before that were just small local things. But yeah, that one sticks out in memory because I when you don't really know what you're doing and it's all new and exciting, it's more special. Now that I've had 20 others, it's just another party sometimes. But that one was a good memory to be able to put my son on support and a few other guys. So the Emus party at Sub Rosa, a club that's no longer there, was my favourite.
Wasn't that fairly recently, like a couple of years ago?
Yeah, I think it's been shut for maybe 2 years now. Pretty sad actually, because it was a cool little venue and it was the hub of Brisbane progressive house / techno, and there's a couple of other clubs there now, but they don't have the heart and soul that little spot did. Had a community around it, and it's left a hole in Brisbane's kind of music scene.
Well, talking about that, Brisbane and this area in general, what can you say about the music scene, whether negative or positive or both, around this part of Australia?
Well, I'm on the Sunshine Coast, and it doesn't really have a scene. There's no clubs here that play, quality techno or minimal or psychedelic progressive stuff at all. Occasionally, someone will have an event, but it's basically the Bush Doofs or the odd party that I will have. There's a couple of clubs every now and then have some stuff, but it's not a scene, so to speak. It's random parties. I've been trying, but it's been challenging. Haven't really got the support required to keep pushing them. I'll see what happens in the next few months, but Brisbane's got a pretty solid little scene. It had a bit of a hiccup with COVID. The whole world had a fucking hiccup. But yeah, there's a couple clubs in Brisbane now that are trying hard and bringing good artists there, but I just don't feel like the community's kind of strong as it was before. Yeah, I don't know. It's going all right, but it was better.
So when you say if you don't feel like there is enough support, you mean like actually people coming to events or other crews helping to have those events more consistently and frequently?
A little bit of both. I've been having these parties, and sometimes you'll get enough people to show up and support. Then there's a couple other little crews having parties, but I feel like there's a clique there. There's not. They're not community based. We're not really trying to work together to really create a good scene, and that's not working. Like they'll have a party in Noosa and I'll have a party at Nambour or whatever, and I feel like if everyone would come together and work for the greater good and build a fucking community, and we could create a scene here, but it's a bit cliquey, I think. So and, a lot of people talk about, oh yeah, I'm coming to your next party, and people don't show up. So you can only do that so many times as a promoter. You can only break even so many times or lose some coins so many times before you get disheartened. I've had a good crack at it, and I'm not giving up just yet, but it hasn't been as positive recently. So hopefully, there's a few things at at stake. Like you've got the economy, people don't have a lot of money and stuff like that. So it's a challenging time for a lot of people, but it's hard to keep having parties if people don't show up and don't support. Yeah.
And in terms of parties, are there quite a lot, like not in the club scene, but like in terms of bush doofs? And do you think, what's the bush doof situation is here like? And do you think that sort of competes with the club scene?
Yeah, it probably does, but it also can be a positive, I think. Like, these artists that play at the doofs, whatever, and then all of a sudden you see them on a club lineup. You would think that people are going to go, oh yeah, that was a great time, I'm going to that event. But, some people prefer doofs, some people don't want to go into a club, some people do both. I love both. I just don't know sometimes if there's enough people that want to attend all these events. Like, they're not all going to be sold out. So, it's a challenge, but same as anywhere. I guess if your events are good and people have a good time, they'll keep attending. So it's just the challenge of persevering and losing some money along the way sometimes, unfortunately.
Yeah, so all of your events were like an indoor or club type of events, or have you had any like outdoor doof?
I haven't had a doof. I've been to a shitload, but I've had label showcases and little sessions at Love Camp and different things like that. But yeah, I'm not game. There's too much fucking organising and risk for me to step up and try and run a doof. A good mate of mine, Trent, runs Elements, and I see the stress and the pressures he goes through, mate. So I'm just going to pat him on the back and say, you go for it, fella. I don't know if it's for me. Maybe one day, if I have the right team around me, I'd have a crack at it, but everyone else is doing such a good fucking job. I don't want to have a go at it and not do as well as they are.
That's good. And so there are quite a few of them going on in this area.
Yeah, southeast Queensland's pretty busy. There's a lot of little illegal ones, but there's some big ones. Like I mentioned Elements before. It's a fabulous event. I got a showcase tomorrow at Initiation Festival. They're doing good things. Earth Frequency, it's been running forever. And there's a few little crews as well too that are doing some cool things, and I quite like the small ones if they're done well. So we've got a good scene here, doof wise, but hasn't really translated into any kind of club scene, or I wouldn't say a electronic music community, but there is a doof scene for sure.
So you said you're in the electronic music scene probably for 15 years. You think electronic music? So what kind of music were you interested before, and like how did your interest in music begin and when?
Well, I used to like metal and punk and things like that, and like surf rock and things like that. I still quite appreciate that, and grunge. Went through all the different flavours and stuff, but I think I just had some friends that liked some, house music or electronic music. Went out, had a good time, and started to appreciate that music. And I got quite into my house music for a while there. When we went to Amsterdam several years, and we go to all the house music events. Got friendly with a lot of the house producers and stuff, and I still like a bit of house, but just a little boring and lacks a bit of power for me these days. But I appreciate all genres almost. Yeah.
Have you ever had a sort of an interest or a spark to maybe produce a music or DJ? Produce. I mean, and I'll ask also a question. If I'm correct, if I'm not mistaken, you had a studio.
Yeah, we had a studio at my last house, and basically it's my son Kane. But I sat in there a lot. But to be honest, looking at the screens and the software and all the shit that you got to know and understand, I don't think it's for me. But my strengths lie elsewhere, I think. I may learn to DJ one day, but I feel like I'm more useful to the scene and the community by, running the label and running the party, giving DJs opportunities, connecting the dots behind the scene, finding undiscovered artists, giving them a platform to play, and giving them opportunities instead of me focusing on myself and giving me opportunities. There's plenty of people already doing that, so I think I'll just stick with what I'm doing.
Fair enough. Oh no, that sounds good. I guess I maybe just ask you to comment, to add anything else to this interview that perhaps I haven't asked or we haven't covered yet.
No, I think we've covered everything. I think more people like yourself that are passionate and doing stuff for the love of it and not for the ego and not for the money would be good. I think yourself and me, and I'm sure there's others out there, if they can be more helpful and more community minded and give people opportunities instead of not always looking for put those big names up there again and again and again. I think the community and the scene would be a bit better off, but everyone does it for different reasons.
And thank you for this interview, Mark. It has been a pleasure. I was very nervous before it. I'm not nervous for all interviews, but for this one I have been, and really pleasure having known you and now finally meeting you in person.
Good to meet you too.
Look forward to our future possible collaborations and everything.
And we'll have to go doofing together one time.
We'll have to, yes.
We will.
Somewhere, either here or where I am, or somewhere in between. And I would like to thank everyone for watching this interview and for your support, because we are doing this for you. So stay tuned, subscribe and share, and thank you.
Thank you.
All the best. Bye.